Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today we are going to do things a little bit differently. Today I'm going to walk you through, I'm going to show you my smart home, and we're going to go on a smart home tour, and I'm going to show you the smart devices I use, why I got them, what is the ecosystem I'm using, and what is the reason that I have made so many things in my smart home. Let me take you back a few years. So I got this house maybe 5 years ago, and when I started, I've been adding devices here and there, and I've made changes. But after my research, when I started getting into it, every device which I was getting, it has its own app to use it. And soon enough, there was a time where I have like 10 apps. So if you look at my phone, I actually have a smart home tab, and it has so many apps. And all these apps, I have some apps which are not even showing here. And all these apps, if I want to try one specific app, I have to go in and open that app. And I don't like to use it that way. I want all my apps, all my devices in one app. And that is the Home app for iOS. And the way I use it, I'll show you. It's not only Home app. At the back end, there is Homeassistant, which is helping me get all the devices into the HomeKit, even the devices which are not compatible with Home. So let's start with Aqara Doorbell. The best thing about Aqara Doorbell is that it's actually HomeKit enabled. I didn't have to do anything with Homeassistant. It's Matter enabled, and that's the best thing which is happening in the smart home devices, that more and more devices are adopting the Thread and the Matter network. I'm hoping to be in the future where every device I own can be just added into any smart home, either if it's a Google smart home or if it's a Apple smart home. So Aqara, as I have shown you in my video as well, when I installed it, it has been working really good. So whenever I ring the doorbell, so it goes to my, it rings it inside, but as well as it also tells me that I get a notification from the Aqara app, but I actually also get a notification from the Home app. So that is something which really helps me, even when I'm outside, if I'm shopping and no one is home. If there's a parcel which comes in, I can tell the guy to drop the parcel. I actually like Aqara company as itself. I know it's a Chinese company and people have some reservation around it that we should not be using, but I have been a very satisfied customer. So on the outside, I also do have one more thing which I wanted to show you. We have these lights, and they also have they actually have the Philips Hue lights as well. They are part of my automation as well. And what happens at the night, and if you look outside and if you look on the top of those, you can also see the port lights there, and those port lights are also controlled with my Home. So if you see here, there are two lights. So one is the outdoor port lights which are up there, and then there are the lights. So what I'm going to show you, this is how I control them. They do get turned on after sunset, and they stay on until 12 o'clock at midnight, and then they turn off. So that's one automation which I'm using as well. So we have the Aqara Doorbell. Let's talk about the Aqara Smart Lock. It's Aqara U100, and it is a really good device. I can unlock with my fingerprint. I can unlock with if I know my passcode. I can also unlock with the NFC, the wallet app, the Home app. I can just tap it and it opens it up. And if I go into my device, you can also see that right now the device is locked. And if you can see it's unlocked, and let's go in. Welcome to my humble home. So the first thing I will want to show you that the door sensors. There are some old source sensors. You can also do the auto lock, and it happens after I am inside and after 1 minute. So that is one reason that I don't have to worry about locking the door every single time I go in. I come in, my kids come in, we just push the door in, and that's it. 30 seconds and the door is auto locked. So if it's open and we are just standing outside, or we are just talking to some guests or saying bye to some guests, it doesn't auto lock at that point, or it doesn't go in. So it checks that, the automation checks that the door is closed, and if the door is unlocked at that time, it locks it. So that gives me a little bit of safety in my mind that I will never forget about locking my door. So when I was starting to build my smart home, I was looking into different protocols. So there are three types of protocols, right? There is Wi-Fi devices which are on Amazon for 20 bucks, and many people like them and use them, and they work perfectly as well. But the problem with those Wi-Fi devices is that they put pressure on your Wi-Fi network. They overload your Wi-Fi network, and that affects your main devices. So I landed on ZigBee devices. So there will be Aqara, which you saw. It is a ZigBee device. The Aqara lock, which you saw, is a ZigBee device, and it runs on ZigBee protocol, so it's not affecting the Wi-Fi. There are two ways to turn lights into smart lights in your home. One way is to change the light bulb, and that light bulb is smart. The other way is to change the actual switch to a smart switch. There are benefits in both of these options. So what I've done is that I have port lights everywhere in my home. If I go towards putting smart lights in every port light, it's gonna cost me too much. So instead of getting smart light installed, I installed one smart switch to handle these port lights. So if you look at this, this is a switch. This is a GE ZigBee switch. I really like it. So this is for the outside switch, and I will show you. But if you come around here, I have another ZigBee switch here, which actually is for the port lights in this area in the living room. So when it turns on, the blue light goes away. These ZigBee devices, the GE smart switches, have been rock solid since last 4 years. So I have no complaints about it. They have been working really well, and that's, I think, one of the good decisions I made when I got a guy to come and help me install all these switches. I got them all at once, and I really like that. We have port lights, but we also have some of these lamps. So as I was mentioning, some of the light decisions I've made are based on a smart switch, and some of the light decisions are based on smart bulbs. For the lamps, I have gone with smart bulbs, and for the lights, the ceiling lights, or where there are more lights, I have gone with smart switch. So if you look here, so if you come to the living room, I have living port lights, and they work. It's the same as turning this switch on. So right now it's on, and I can turn it off from here. Similarly, I have these living corner, living side, and those are managed by this Aqara button as well. So I try to make things as simpler as possible. So if I click this one, if you can see, these smart lamps turn on as well. And if I just turn them again, that's it. One thing I like about it is there are 3 ways you can use it. You can press single press to turn it on, single press to turn it off, and then if you hold it, so I have set it up that when I hold this, all the lights in this area turns on, which actually makes perfect sense for our use cases. When there are guests over, I can just press one button and all the lights turn on. Let's talk about the dining room area. So in dining room, we have some smart lights and some dumb lights. So we have this chandelier, which is not smart at all, and it doesn't need to be. It's just a thing I just turn on sometimes. But we do have port lights here, and they work exactly like the living room's lights. You turn them on, and you can, again, they turn on in my dining area, and I can just turn it off here. And it's really, and these are all dimmers, so I can use the brightness that how I want it. So these things really makes my life easier. One thing which I do have in dining room is smart thermostat device. So this is an Ecobee smart home temperature. I believe it's Ecobee 3. There are a few new models, but this has been working perfectly fine for last 4 years, so I don't see a reason to change it. This is not ZigBee, it's Wi-Fi, but that's fine. And it shows up in my smart home, and I can control my temperature like this. The main determination factor in all these devices is making life easier for my family as well. So there is a wife affectance factor, WAF as well, which I have to worry about. The one thing which I don't like about this is that my wife and I argue about the temperature, and she can just change it on my phone. So that is something which I have to, which I can't control over. So instead of her coming down the stairs and then changing the thermostat, she can do it from her phone, and which is not good. So that is the struggle we have to keep fighting about. This is the hallway, and again we have the same a smart port light device. It is on my phone as a hallway light, and sometimes we forget to turn off all the lights in the home when we go to bed at night. With the help of Home device, we can just click on one scene to turn off all the lights in the home, and it works perfectly. So one more device. If we come here to the kitchen area, kitchen is the heart of the home, and that's how we have it here as well. So this kitchen is again the same. We have port lights, a smart port light switch to turn on the port lights, and then we also have a kitchen door in the back, and we have a kitchen door sensor. So at night, if I am upstairs and I'm going to bed and it's 11 o'clock or later and this door is open, so if this door is open, I do get a notification that the kitchen door is open. So if you look at this, my kitchen home view, you can see the port lights are on and the kitchen door is open. If I close the door, the kitchen door should be closed. Yep. So the port lights is on, but there is this LED, and let me show you what this is. So if you look around it, these are the LED lights which I'm very proud of. Every individual LED can be lighted up separately, so that's why you can see all these colorful combinations which you can do. And this is something which I had to do a lot of tweaking to get into the Apple Home. If you know WLED, these are the WLED, and they are connected to my Home Assistant network, and from there I have pushed them into HomeKit, so I can control, and the whole family can control it from one place. But if I really want to go into the deep and want to try different settings and different things, then I do have to go into the Home Assistant app, and let me show you how that looks. So if you go into Home Assistant, and there are different things, and there are actually different effects which you can use, and it just makes things just something to have some fun with. So that's the kitchen LED, and it actually works really well. And yeah, my kids have fun. If you have watched this far, please like and subscribe this video, and so I can tell me how this video is, and leave your comments. If you have any questions about any of the smart home device and how I'm using it, let me know, and I'll provide my feedback on how I'm doing it. Or if you have suggestions to improve anything, let me know as well. One thing I wanted to mention in the kitchen area is that I have this Lenovo Smart Google Home accessory, and this is a Google Home speaker which I've posted here. So whatever happens, whenever there is a doorbell, it goes to Home Assistant as well, and it shows up here that someone is ringing the door. I have different Nest Mini speakers all over my house, and this is one of the display which shows all the favorite family pictures for us to go through, and it actually it serves this purpose. So this is one device which doesn't really work with Apple Home. So this is separately with Apple Home. This is mostly used to broadcast messages to my kids upstairs to come down for dinner. We can still control most of the devices with our Google. So we live in a bit of a mix smart home household, and that's where I think the struggle comes for most people, that which ecosystem you live in. Do you live in Google ecosystem? You live in Apple ecosystem? Let's go to the family area, and it's the same theme. The port lights are smart. They work with the GE smart switch, and the lamps are Philips Hue lamps, and they are controlled by the devices. I talked earlier about that how all the port lights are smart and all the lamps are the light bulbs, and I have gone all in the Philips Hue system. All the bulbs which you see in the house, they are Philips Hue. And if I go here, and if I go in the family room app, you can see there is family room lamps which turns on these lamps, and there is family room port lights to turn on the port lights. One thing I do want to mention, I want to show you here. This is for the port lights, as I mentioned, and I was using the Aqara switch on the other living room to turn on the lamps, but here I'm using this Philip Hue removable button. So if you turn it off, the lamps turn off, and if you can turn on, this is a very customizable device. I really like it. I actually have one in the master bedroom as well. So if you can control the dimness, it's like you get best of both worlds. You get your smart home devices as well. You can control it with your phone, but you can control it also with a manual switch. So if you press it 2 times, you can actually customize it, what the type of shade or what type of what color comes on, and it is magnetic and it just switches there. Let's talk about how I've set up TV and what I use for my smart TV setup. This is one of the funniest thing. Everything in my home is Apple Home and it's on the Apple Home devices. I should be using an Apple TV, and actually I do have Apple TV, but I don't use Apple TV as my main family room device. I use actually a Google Shield, NVIDIA Shield, because it just works better for me. I really feel comfortable with Android TV, and some of the things which you can do with Android TV, you are not able to do it with Apple TV. So that's why the streaming device of choice for me is NVIDIA Shield. I talked about the smart lighting in my home, and one thing I have done, I think maybe 3 years ago, is doing a Philips Hue sync setup. So what it means that there is a LED which is behind the TV. There are few lights which are lighting up the console and behind the TV. The best way to show you how it works is by showing you a YouTube video. So if you see, the best thing about it is that whenever I'm watching a movie or I'm watching a video, a music video, it actually follows what's happening in the screen, and the console and the lights, they follow that on the edges of the screen. And I think this makes it a really nice experience for me when I'm watching the TV. The devices which I'm using here, NVIDIA Shield, I'm using a Vizio Smart TV. I don't use the Smart TV functionality of Vizio. I use actually the NVIDIA Shield. Sonos for the soundbar, and I have a PS5 which I use with my family. So yeah, this is the TV setup which I've been using. I'm very happy with it, and I'm thinking of upgrading to a better TV, so stay tuned for that. I don't have a lot of automations in my home. So I do have automation for notifications when someone rings the doorbell, or when the door is left open in the kitchen, or when the door is unlocked in the front and I get notifications. One automation which has made my life so much easier, and it's one of the most used automation of my home, is that this is my garage door. And whenever I open a garage door, especially in the night time, it was very hard for my kids to just get snacks or anything. So the one thing which I have done in the garage is that there is a smart motion sensor that whenever we open the door, the motion sensor activates and it turns on the garage light. So if you look at this, I open the garage light. As long as they see the garage, the light turns on. So if you come here, come inside. This garage is messy, don't worry about it. So this is the light which turns on automatically. It's just a standard light, and you can actually take this. I have connected it with a Vimo, Belkin Vimo switch, and I've set it up in the smart home. One thing which I really like is that we also have a garage door opener. The garage door opener I'm using is the Meadows garage opener. I think it cost $35, which I got from Amazon, and it actually works well with the Google Apple HomeKit devices. So if I just press, I have this button, I press this and the garage opens up, which makes my life easier. Okay. So this garage door opener has helped me in a lot of ways. Sometimes when I'm driving, I try to remember, oh, did I close my garage door or not? I'm sure it has happened to everyone at one point of a time. So this helped me know that, okay, if I have opened garage door, if I've left the garage door open or not. So I can just come back in, I can, or if I'm somewhere else, I can just click and I can just see that the garage door is closed. So this is one of my kids' room. Now we are upstairs. Let me show you what I've done upstairs. So this is my kids' room. There is no smart lighting other than only one light which I want to show you, and that is my kids' bed light. If you can see that there are LED lights on the bed, and my daughter loves this. So she can play around with it. She can have this as a night light as well. So what she can do, there is a Google Home Mini here somewhere, and she can just say, hey Google, you know what it means. I don't want to turn on your Google Home devices, so she can just set it up. Hey Google, set up my room light to this color, and it does it. And this is actually has worked for her, and she loves it. So that is something which I've done in this room. So let me quickly talk to you about the master bedroom. Not a lot of smart devices, but I have think about the wife acceptance factor, and it's the same thing that I have a Philip Hue smart button here to control the Philip Hue lamps. There are 2 lamps here, and they are just controlled by these lights, and you can also control them with your obviously home app. But at night time, this makes it so easier. We can have it on the side of the bed, and this just one button, and we can go through different modes. I do want to show you one more thing. If we come across here, just like how I have the Google speaker downstairs, I also have a Google Nest display which shows the pictures. That's the upper floor. I don't have a lot of automations, but whatever we have works for me. And the reason that some of the automations in my other kids' room, they are actually not working, because I told you I'm moving away in a month, and I'm not spending any more time in maintaining this smart home anymore. I'm thinking about the future. I'm thinking about how I'm gonna set up in the new home. So this is one of the spare rooms in our home, and the only automation I have in this room is something which is just concerning safety of the house. So what I have here is I have this iron, and I have a smart switch here, a Vimo Belkin Vimo smart switch. And what it does is it tracks the iron if we have left it on or off, if we are outside. So there is an automation which turns off the iron after 30 minutes. So if we are using it, we are mostly done in 15-20 minutes. And if we forget to turn it off by mistake, we know that after 30 minutes it's gonna turn off automatically. I do have some of the devices which are not actually in my home setup, but I do get notifications on my phone, and there are different apps. I wasn't able to add everything into my smart home. I'm still working on that. So these are 2 devices which actually are so these are the LG ThinQ washer and dryer. I do get notifications on those when they are powered off, when they are running the cycle, and whenever the washing cycle is done, it sends me a notification on the phone that the cycle has been completed. And actually I have set it up in a way that it sends me a notification on my TV as well, but that automation has been broken for a while just because I didn't get chance to fix it, because I told you I'm moving soon. So my enthusiasm and my motivation to keep improving on this smart home has diminished. I am thinking about what I'm gonna do in the new home. So these are most of the devices which I'm using on my upper floor and main floor. Let me take you to my office, which is in the basement, and show you where I work on and where I make my videos, and how the setup looks there. And also the Home Assistant, which I keep talking about, where that server resides. So this is my basement office or studio where I make the videos which I make. You can see there is an LED in the background which I control from my phone. It's again the Philips Hue LED, and I use a small bulb on the bottom on the floor for the lighting as well. So that is the lighting setup. As I mentioned, I'm moving, so the room is a bit of a mess. but that's how it is. This is the Synology NAS which I just got. I'm still setting it up, and this is the home server which I'm running Homeassistant on, and an Unraid server. And this is the USB stick for the ZigBee protocol. So all the home devices are running through Homeassistant with this device. So they go on my Apple Home, and the devices which are not compatible with Apple Home, but they are compatible with ZigBee, I push them through Homeassistant and then they show up in HomeKit. So this is the smart home tour. Thank you for staying with me if you have watched this video so far. As I mentioned, that I'm moving into a new place and I'll be setting up some of these devices there, and obviously there will be some new devices. Let me know if you want to see all these devices. I'll be sharing what I'm doing, the devices I'm choosing, and why I'm choosing those devices, and why I'm doing what I'm doing in my new smart home. And stay tuned, and maybe in a few months I'll be doing a smart home tour of that place, and then we can talk about how the smart home tours is different from this home and the other one. So stay tuned, like and subscribe for more videos like this.